We're rolling. Hey, I'm Mike Lemon with Cyber Safety Nation, where we make cyber safety simple for parents. Bob Couchman, our training is here with us today, and we're going to be discussing one of probably the fastest growing apps we're seeing right now is TikTok. What do you think about it there?
Well, I pulled up a list of the most popular apps for this year, actually off of Apple's site, and it was number 4. Number 4 for this year, so it's very popular.
And I wonder if I think TikTok will eventually pass Snapchat probably this year if it hasn't already. Just in the last few trainings I've done in middle between 6th and 9th graders, TikTok is more popular with them than Snapchat, and it's by a far margin. And you know, when there's a graph we have of apps that people are using that for our local kids, and you know, of course, they're laughing at Facebook. They're laughing at old people. Stuff. And TikTok's not even on there because it really hasn't even been. Obviously, it hasn't been around. We'll learn about that in a second. Very long, but man, it has exploded. Mm-hmm. What are you seeing in your presentations?
Yes, well, I always ask them to write down the top 3 apps they're using. It's Snapchat and TikTok are one of the 2, 3 all the time. Snapchat, TikTok, and Instagram are the top 3.
Yeah, I'm seeing
98% of the time.
Now, I was an examiner with the Bowling Green Police Department, so I examined computers and cell phones. You did the same thing with Madisonville Police Department for several years. And tell me if I'm on the right path on this. For several years, especially in the late 2000s, when especially the smartphones became pretty popular, having young girls pick up their phone, turn the radio on in the background, and sing as they record themselves was everywhere. I mean, your ears would bleed. It's awful to listen to, especially when we have to go through, 100, 200 of those videos to make sure they're not what we're looking for, which is child porn or some type of exploitation. But have you had that similar experience?
Absolutely, yes. And I mean, I know you covered Bowling Green. I covered Addisonville, but I was used out by counties around me and most of Western Kentucky. So yeah, I've had my experience with cell phones, computers as well. And you're right. Back in the old days, as you would say before, is that, yeah, they'd get in front of a mirror, crank up the music, and sing in front of it like they were the actual artist. And I mean, it's nothing but a smart marketing move when you can make an app that does that all in one.
Yeah, and kind of tell us the history, because it didn't start out as TikTok. How did this app start?
Well, actually, TikTok started after. Well, let me go to the slideshow. Hang on a second. So, all right. So TikTok. You see, a parent sees this logo on their child's phone. They've got TikTok installed. TikTok started as a separate company, but Musical.ly was the big one back in earlier years. Well, as you see, it was launched in 2014. Musical.ly did the same thing. It basically used to record 15 second and 1 minute videos. You would hear the music playing in the background. The person would be recording themselves. And of course, it also came with different filters or different ways of changing the video. In 2017, ByteDance, who was the owners of TikTok, bought out Musical.ly and combined the two together. Now, I'll tell the kids too, when I'm talking about TikTok, they'll see a lot of Indian people on there from the country of India, obviously, but it's very popular in India as well, and China, because obviously now China's where I'm sorry, not China. It's not in China. You cannot get this in China. They don't allow it in China, but it's owned by a Chinese company. But it is very popular in India. More recently, a parent may have heard about it in the news because of the government raising some concerns about the Chinese government running this technology and collecting all of our kids' information. So there's quite a bit of coverage on it the past month or so. One thing I like to bring to parents' attention before you install an app on your child's phone, in the Apple iTunes store, it'll tell you what that child may see or what that person may see when they install that app. And this you're seeing now is what's listed for TikTok. You see it's rated 12 and up. Infrequent mild sexual content, nudity, mild alcohol, tobacco, and drug use, profanity, crude humor, mild cartoon and fantasy violence, and mature suggestive themes. Now, think about that before you have your 11, 12-year-old log into this, or not even that. We'll talk about it in a second as well.
To me, right?
I'm sorry?
Sounds like a kid app to me.
Well, it does when you look at the marketing material and the pictures they send, yes. But you have to dig down and look at the stuff they have to claim when they put it on the iTunes store. That's a different thing. That's a couple things. I actually put this on my phone just to make sure I was getting everything right. But as soon as you load that app on your phone, you do not need an account to look at videos. As soon as the app is on, boom, the first video shows up, and you scroll through videos without requiring a sign on. So there's no lying about your age. You just install the app, and voila, there's videos. The only time you need an account on TikTok is to post videos or to make comments about videos. Without an account, you can still search hashtags. You can find specific videos you're looking for without an account. There's no ratings in the videos, which means you can't say they're R or PG or anything like that. There's no telling what you're going to see. And as you saw on the slide before, it's rated for 12 and up. Now, when I first loaded this app, I went through 2 videos. The first video I looked at was like, okay, whatever. And the second one popped up was this one. I'll play it. I will tell you there's several spots I tried to bleep out the stuff that I would not want my child to hear, but I'll let you guys listen to this.
You know how they to me? Why? Cause baby don't give a what you do. I be fixing the weed, watch yourself, pull it out, then I fuck up from the back and she nasty.
On my way to church, right?
Oh, that's what it says. But that was the second video that popped up. I don't know about you, Mike, but me and my kids, I mean, they're 17 and 21 now, but back when they were 12, 13, 14, 15 years old, I would not want them hearing that. That's just me.
Me neither. I can't think of a parent.
That's not a thing I want to converse at the dining room table about, what you learned on TikTok. But this is the kind of things that are out there floating around. Now, granted, this isn't some pervert out there trying to lure your child in, but this is the stuff your child's exposed to when they install this app, and it's out there. So, something else, once you make an account, all the accounts anything you post is available to the public by default. Nothing is private. I covered earlier about the viewer doesn't need to log in to search for things or look at videos. And you can actually direct message another user on TikTok. Think about that for a second. And this isn't just with TikTok, the last bullet point there, but children can be talked into doing things they wouldn't normally do by people on the other end. Like, hey, you want to get more followers? Take your shirt off. Oh, okay, I can get more followers, because unfortunately kids are into to be more popular. They want to make sure they get the most likes, the most viewers, the most followers, whatever it is, whichever app it is. But they strive to be popular. Okay. In February 2019, TikTok did a purge. They cleaned out any account that said the kids said they were 13 and under. Okay. That sounds great. That's a great marketing thing. But now think about this for a second. When you and I go to classes, the first thing I cover at the very beginning is, how many of you have accounts on whatever social media you have? And the question is, or I leave it at that question. They all raise their hands for whatever the list I go through the social media apps. Then I'll ask them, well, how long have you had that account? 3 or 4 years. Who's had it that long? They raise their hand. I always make sure it makes it before they were the age of 13. And I would say 80 to 90% of them say, yes, I've had it longer than that. And I explain to them, so you would have had to have had another date of birth, or you would have said you were 13, you weren't. So just because they purged those that said they were 13 and under, that's great, but it still doesn't cover everything.
Right. And they know that all they got to do is turn around and just make a new account or change their birth date. You know, I was up in I was training some ninth graders earlier last month, and I started going back saying, now who's had accounts more than before they were 13. Similar to you, and then went to 10, and then started going 8, and just to see how far down we could go. And probably close to 5 to 10% of each class I was in had kids who were 5 and 6 years old when they had their first Facebook or Instagram or whatever account. So some of these kids are online at such an early age that 5, 6 years old. And like we talk about in our presentation, especially our parent presentation, there's no child internet, right? There's no kiddie section to it. So they're fully exposed to every adult online. And TikTok is no. And what do you think? I mean, overall, do you think what do you think parents should take? There are no safe apps. right?
No.
We believe that. But there are some who are not as safe as others. Where does this kind of rank on from safer to not safe at all? Where would you put this?
I hate to rank anything because there's no telling. And what I tell parents is anywhere there's a child using an app or on an online somewhere, there's going to be perverts in that
Mm-hmm.
same spot. Whether they're posing as a kid or posing as an adult, there's going to be perverts and pedophiles in those apps as well. They're there. You and I have seen it way too many times. I mean, where does a wolf go to hunt sheep? Where the sheep hang out, right?
Right.
So they're going to be there. This one, I don't want to ever say anything is safe. I'm never going to say that. This one still has the potential of being dangerous because a person can watch a video and go, oh, hey, that's my kind of, or if you've seen my program, that's my flavor of ice cream. And that's the kind of person I want. Well, now they can direct message that person within TikTok. And will a parent see that? I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. In TikTok, the parent features on there as far as limiting who can contact them. I don't know if you've dove into it that far yet or not.
There is no filter. There's no safety. You can make an account private, but you got to go through steps to get that done.
Right.
And even then, I wouldn't say that's safe.
So it's not the default if kids get on there.
Right. Everything is public by default.
Okay. And so just kind of as a summary, kids can just download the app and see all the videos they want if they're not going to communicate or post their own, right?
Correct. Yes. And as soon as you download the app, boom, your first video starts playing.
Excellent. So what kind of one piece of advice would you give parents who are thinking about or kids are asking them to download TikTok?
As with anything else I tell them, it's risk and reward. How much risk are you willing to take for how much reward? I mean, that's what it boils down to anywhere, whether we were talking about Facebook years ago when that was popular or anything they're using now. What's the risk and reward? To me, the risk is pretty high. I mean, my kids are 17, 21 now. They can kind of do what they want, really.
Mm-hmm.
But they've been educated, obviously. But to me, 16, 17 years old, maybe we can start using it then. Anything younger than that, I get nervous.
Excellent. Well, man, I appreciate you coming on. And for the parents out there, if your child is on TikTok, we'd like to hear from you. So if you could post down below kind of your experience, either the positive or the negative. We want to hear both of them. We just don't want to. We're not out here to bash apps. Their apps are good things, but you have to be used responsibly. So, if you or your child is using TikTok, if you just post below, we'd appreciate that. Again, I'm Mike Lemon with Cyber Safe Teen Nation. We are here to help you as parents make better decisions, keeping your kids safe. Have a good day.